Let's turn our attention now to the European Union. It's launched a fund of over $47 billion. It's called the African Economic Development Fund, and it's aimed at helping Nigeria, among other sub-Saharan countries, to drive economic growth and development. Now, the EU is already developing a strategic framework for the implementation and disbursement of the fund. The hope is that this fund and all the projects it puts money into will go a long way in reducing the number of Africans who seek greener pastures in European states. Now, the fund will further assist both the EU and Nigeria to explore opportunities in the nation's digital economy, the view to deepening investment in the area, as well as possible partnerships as well. Italy has additionally put up a new fund of about €200 million to help African countries better control and secure their borders, and the latest of a slew of measures being pushed by EU member states to stop migrants from reaching the EU's borders. Let's get the latest details on these particular measures. Miriam Zaidi joins us now live from Brussels with more data on this story. Miriam, how exactly does this fund fit into the wider debate in the EU around migration?
Hi, Rama. Well, quite simply, if they can help African countries where migration to Europe is acute, they think they can stem the flow of migrants from those countries by supporting or developing their economies. Now, on migration, the EU's new approach is quite simple. For years, Europe has been on the back foot. It has been unable to cope with the sheer thousands of people risking their lives by boat and by all means necessary to get to Europe. Now, it's been sheer chaos, and we've seen clear divisions from member states on the willingness to take in refugees and migrants. So now we see a Europe trying to manage the situation from its source. For example, the recent deal with Libya, a country where 90% of arrivals into Europe originate from.
Indeed. Let's talk about Nigeria. It's been cited by the Vice President of the EU's digital single market as one of the key focus areas for this fund. Why Nigeria? What is the attraction there?
Well, one word is business. The EU wants to tap into the digital market there, which will obviously create jobs and investment on both sides. Now, Nigeria has Africa's fastest growing e-commerce sector and has the biggest number of internet and mobile phone users. Now, according to the Commissioner Ansip, who is in charge of the EU's Commission's digital portfolio, Nigeria's digital revolution is moving at a faster speed than in Europe. He says that it's 100% of the population who have access to the internet. But the ability of this market to thrive will no doubt require the government to introduce more market-friendly policies and, of course, better infrastructure.
Indeed. One last question for you. Italy, of course, putting together this €200 million fund, that's about $216 odd million, to help African states better secure their borders. Tell us more about that.
Well, if we look at the official numbers by the International Office for Migration, since the beginning of the year, almost 6,000 have made their way to Europe and 80% of arrivals have been into Italy. Now, with Greece, Italy is on the front line. As we know, the collective EU response to those countries has been lukewarm. The Italian Prime Minister was a key figure in pushing EU leaders to ink a deal with Libya. Italy itself, of course, has historically always worked with Libya to control migration and is doing so again. So if African countries such as Libya, Tunisia and Nigeria can control their borders, they can stop the departures, and under the plan they can also request for training and equipment to further that aim.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you for the update. That's Miriam Zaidi, of course, live in Brussels.